Well, mates, today I've come down to the Cranbrook Massive. Cranbrook, mate, more known as Crimebrook, mate. And we're not talking Crime Stoppers here, mate. We are talking the Cranbrook, mate. It's a place that was recently built, mate, and it started to get bigger and bigger, and they moved people in. So basically, they decided there were too many laners, and what's it called, Live West were getting going absolutely mental. There's too many laners, we need to move them somewhere else, and they decided to make them Cranbrook to get them away from everywhere, mate. And they also then decided they weren't happy with that. They then moved in St Paul's Honiton Massive, and because they were slap bang in the middle, mate, it was like putting two different communities in one area, and it weren't good. It weren't good, and this is where it all like began, mate. So this is the Cranbrook Massive, innit? And this is like the top. Bus, mate! 4 bus, mate! 4 bus, mate! I like buses. Do you like buses, mate? 4, mate! I like buses. It's a bus, mate. I like buses. Do you like buses? The other guarantee about Cranbrook is, mate, if you come down here, I guarantee you, you will see some with 4 wheels and 2 feet, mate. It's every second down here, mate. I guarantee you, you will see a mum on her own pushing a pram. Some girl got pregnant. And it's kind of common to see people get pregnant up here at a very young age, which is quite scary in some ways, mate. You can go down the road and you hear, here, I hear you, Becky's pregnant. She's only 14. They'll go, no, mate, she's 12 and she's pregnant. And that's the kind of gist of it down here, mate. It's, yeah, I know, it's scary, isn't it? And basically, mate, you just get out their way, mate, because if not, they will run you down, mate. They will run you down. Literally, you can guarantee it, mate. You've only got to come through one road down here, mate. And if you see a single man with a pram, you run. Literally, you run, because she doesn't give a shit who you are, mate. If she's got to get her child to school, mate, she will get her child to school just to keep social services off her back for one more day, mate. So, mates, the Cranbrook. If anyone's ever seen the film The Lion King, mate, you will relate to this film. This place was based after Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. And I'll explain why it was based after Lion King 2, Simba's Pride in a bit, mate. No messing, mate. They come down the road like this, mate, and they will charge at you, mate. If they see you, you just get out their way quick, mate. They're like, what can I put it like? They're like Boris Johnson on speed, mate, literally. They just come at you like this with their pram, mate. Get out of my way, I gotta take my child to school. So, mate, the locals decided to give them their own little places, mate. They give them a Bernardo's, they give them somewhere called Chip Shack, mate. Proper, the Cranbrook Pharmacy, mate, to deal with all the, to try and discourage them from taking drugs and things like that, mate. And they even give them a co-op, mate, yep. Even here you can play Find the fucking Co-op, mate, literally. And it's, well, obviously there it is, mate. There's the co-op, mate. And it's probably one of the newer built ones, but that is definitely a cooperative co-op, mate. They have distinctive, they have 4 wheels and 2 feet, and they look like they're orange. Majority of them are orange normally, unless they've been caught on a bad week and they can't afford to buy any foundation, mate. It all went like this. They all started to mix. The police weren't ready for it, the council weren't ready for it, nobody was ready for it. For the first couple of weeks, it all kicked off, mate. The Cranbrook Massive and the St Paul's Massive, or St Paul's Massive and the laners all went to fight one another, mate, literally. There were everything. There were baseball bats, you name it, it was all going on, mate. Baseball bats, the whole lot. It was proper kicking off down here, mate. It was proper going, mate, and then eventually they decided to call a peace, mate. All the fighting went on, everyone was scrapping. It was the St Paul's Honiton Massive lot versus the laners, mate. It got very confrontational. There were houses blown up, and that's why you see all the diggers and builders around here now still putting houses back together again, because they did so much damage. Some were actually throwing bricks for the window, and then everyone said, wait a minute, Becky's pregnant, let's call it a truce. And they kind of like said, you know what it reminds me of? She's from the lane, and basically her partner was from St Paul's and Honiton. So they turned and said to each other, you know what, this reminds me like the Lion King, when 2 different tribes come together. They all looked at each other, they went, yeah, I like the Lion King. The other one looked at the other and says, I like the Lion King too. And then another one from the other estate goes, I like the Lion King. And they said, we could be like the Lion King and we could all get along and be best friends. And they all looked at each other and they all started to agree with each other, mate. And eventually, by the end of it, they all said, you know what, let's be friends. We can do drug dealing, we can do God knows what else we want to do. And we're like two different units that have come together. If you see something with an orange glow, it looks like Donald Trump with 4 wheels and 2 feet. Run like fuck. And the police would fear us, and it was like something out of a Batman DC comic kind of thing. And then eventually they all got along and they all lived happily ever after. But they're still building the houses back up for whereas like one of the gangs would have smashed somebody else's windows up, mate. And basically eventually there's a lot of damage done, a lot of building, and it's still on the way now. Even this was 2 years ago, mate, and it's still on the way now. They are still building places up from when they had their fight. Even the police wouldn't come down here, mate, because it was so gangster. Even the police would not touch down in Cranbrook, mate, and that was then how they decided to call it Crimebrook, mate, and that is how it became known as Crimebrook and Cranbrook, mate. So we're going to have a look around, mate, and see if we can find any damage that's been done by the by what we call it. It was called the Cranbrook Horror Massacre. It was called, and it really was what it was, mate. But basically, mate, this here used to be a place for the dreaded homeowner, mate. Literally, there's still houses for sale now. Everywhere you look around here, mate, the houses are for sale, but the majority of them have gone to council properties now and things like that. If you're a homeowner here, mate, and you buy a home down here, unless you're chav, drug dealer, or anything like that, you will not last a day. Drive-bys, mate. Most of the weekends in Cranbrook are just sat hanging outside Hay Square, mate. Literally, mate. This is the little place where they all drink and everything like that, mate. They all get a bit leery down here, mate. If you come to Hay Square, mate, they're like, hey, you're in the square, Hay Square, mate. And proper, I'll tell you something, mate, they'll turn you into a square when they're done with you down here, mate. But this is what we call the little gathering part down here, mate. It's like, hey, you're in Hay Square, and proper, I'll tell you, it ain't good, mate. Because if they see you, their speed increases to like that of the Flash, mate, and they just come charging at you like this, and they ain't going to get out the way, mate. They ain't going to get out the way for you, mate. They'll literally run right into you, mate. So this here is like, bus, mate, number 4, mate, number 4 bus again, mate. I like buses. Do you like buses, mate? Oh, I like buses. Oh, it's a single decker as well, mate. It's a single decker. I do like buses. But yeah, anyway, mate, going back to the serious note, mate. Basically, if you see one, mate, run. Get to grass areas like this. This area is designed distinctly to protect you from the mum with the buggy. Because basically, it's rough terrain and buggies cannot get through here. And it's well-known fact that single mums do not like carrying or pushing buggies through here, mate. You are safe. And they even give you a seat to sit on, mate, and then like, when it comes to the worst possible time, it's 3:30, mate. You come here at 3:30, mate, or 3 o'clock, then it's like a stampede, mate. That's another reason why I got mixed with the Lion King. I've never seen or seen when he's got to escape from all the antelope things that come running at him, mate. So that's another reason why it's known as Simba's Bride down here, mate, literally. Sometimes, mate, you hear the sound of an infant down here. The sign that do you hear that? That there is a screaming baby. That is a sign that one of the mums that looks like Donald Trump in a single pushchair is gonna come your way. If you hear that, that's usually your first warning. It's very rare you get a warning, but if you hear that, that's a sign that says to you, get out the way. There's a Donald Trump impersonator with literally orange foundation coming down the road. Well, mates, I think that's about it. So, if you like the Lion King, you should be fine here. If you know how to dodge people with 4 wheels and 2 feet, you'll be fine. But big up the Cranbrook Massive, innit?